This is the VOA Special English Technology Report.
They'll know you've arrived when you drive up in the 1958 Edsel, the car that's truly new from nameplate to taillights.
The Ford Motor Company built several versions of the Edsel from 1958 to 1960. Ford ended production of the car after just 3 model years because of weak sales. The Edsel has been described as both a colossal failure and a car ahead of its time. John Heitman is a history professor at the University of Dayton in Ohio and vice president of the Society for Automotive Historians.
It was a car that was controversial in styling. Its horseshoe-shaped grille is still remembered today. The Edsel is kind of the example of the car that never caught on. It's known as the disaster from Dearborn.
Dearborn, Michigan is Ford's headquarters. Professor Heitman says the biggest problem was that the Edsel arrived around the same time as a recession. He says Americans were beginning to question their values.
It's a really curious kind of economic episode. It was actually quite severe, but also rather short. But it was at a time when many Americans were reacting to the dinosaur in the driveway, these very heavy, chrome-laden Buicks and other cars. The 58 Buick had 58 pounds of chrome on it. The Edsel was also a very heavy, very fuel-inefficient vehicle.
Even so, some people say the Edsel's technology more than made up for what it lacked in looks and fuel efficiency. Shamrock Shelly Cleaver is the public relations director for the Edsel Owners Club in the United States. Mr. Cleaver has been a member of the club since it formed in 1969. He says the Edsel was the most modern car of its time.
It was the first Ford product to have self-adjusting brakes on it. And then on the back and rear bumper, it had little bumper tips, had a guard with rubber mounted in them. So when you could push your car or something, you wouldn't skin up your bumper. And it had power lubrication where you could lubricate your ball joints and everything inside the car where you mashed a button.
Mr. Cleaver liked one feature especially.
The 58 Edsel had 5 buttons in the center of the stern wheel to shift the gears, see? And that way you could shift the gears with your left hand, keep your arm around your girlfriend or your wife, whatever, and keep on driving. That was unique. It was teletouch drive.
Shamrock Shelly Cleaver made good use of that feature when he got married in 1958. He went on his honeymoon in an Edsel with one arm on the wheel and the other around his new wife. The Edsel was named for Edsel Ford, the only child of company founder Henry Ford. Edsel was president of Ford Motor Company until he died in 1943. Today, the cars are considered collector's items. They can cost anywhere from hundreds of dollars to tens of thousands of dollars. And that's the VOA Special English Technology Report, written by June Sims. I'm Steve Ember.